Anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to animate anything to do with the actual layers themselves. What I'm going to do is just animate them in and out. If I want to be picky, let's go back to my original. How long does it take them to fly in? Let's see, it starts there and they fly into about there, which is 15 frames maybe. So what I want to do is actually animate that so it comes in and it stops at 15 frames. So you'll notice here there's a readout of the time code. I'm just going to pop through it until I get to 15. And that's where I want the movement to finish. And let's start off with the very top layer, which is this one, the right layer. So what you've got here on every layer, you've got a mask, and I've only got the mask because I've drawn it. That's the old yellow line around the edge. If you don't like the way it looks yellow, you can click on this little thing and change the color to anything you feel like, which I do sometimes depending on what I'm dealing with. Doesn't make any effect on the final composition, just helps you see it up here. There's options you can do, like you can feather them. If you tick this little thing that says mask path, I can actually animate that shape, loads of things. But anyway, that's the mask. That's the thing that's making my shape. I've got the layer styles, which I added on, and then you've got this, which is what everything starts with, which is transform. Transform is just like in Premiere, it's moving it left, right, up and down. So what I want to do is move it. That means I want to keyframe the position. Now again, like Premiere, you just click the stopwatch and it turns on position. And what I'm doing is I'm going to where I want it to finish up, and I'm making that the first keyframe. So click on there, and I've put in a point here, which is at 15 frames in, which is where I want it to finish. I'm then going to go back to the start, and what I want to do is I just want it to fly on in the X direction. So if you come down to the numbers, it's a lot easier. You could grab it and move it, but then you might accidentally move it up and down as well. I find it's a lot easier to come to these numbers and grab one of those two. So that's the X, that's the left and right, that's the Y, and that's the up and down. If I grab the X, I can drag it and move it off screen, and that's it. It's now animated to move in. Perfectamundo. Let's go to the end, and I'm pretty sure it takes about a second to disappear. Let's see, it starts there at 5 seconds, and it's disappeared by the time we get to 6 seconds. So yep, I take a second to go off. Let's go all the way to 5 seconds, and I'm just going to add in another keyframe at that point. Again, just like Premiere, you've got these little buttons here to move between keyframes. But if I go to 5 seconds and I click the little dot in the middle, it adds in another keyframe. So I've now got, it moves in, it sits there to this point, go right to the end, and then let's take this position and then fly it off screen again. So there we are. I've now got, flies in, sits there, flies off again. I now want to do the same with the others. So again, it's exactly the same thing. What I'm going to do is, just to make my life easier, is I'm going to leave that layer open, pop down to this one, open up the transform on that, go to that point, and because I can see where everything is, see where these keyframes are, I know that's where I'm going to stick that position keyframe in for here. Doing the bottom layer here. That I want to fly off in this direction. Now as I was moving this there, I was struggling to move it far enough to get it all the way off. But just like in Premiere, if you hold down on the Shift key and grab the numbers, it moves in bigger amounts, which made it easier for me to move it off screen. Because I could just click on it and type something in. But there we are, I've now got that thing flying on. From there, go to where I want it to start moving off. Add a keyframe in, go to the end, and let's again fly it off screen. So I'm going to hold down on Shift to make it easier and fly it off screen. So now I've got those two flying in. And then let's do the top layer. Same thing, open it up, open up the transform, stick in a position there, go to the start, let's fly it off screen, go to the end, make sure I line it up correctly, click, add in a point just there, go to the end, again fly him off screen. So there we are, I've now got everything flying in correctly and then flying off again. Now I'm playing it in exactly the same way as I would play this in Premiere. I just press the space bar to play it. So that's it, I've got those things. Now I want to put the words in. Very simple, you click on the T button and then you type. So let's put it where I want the words to go and go www.clarke dvc.uk.com. That's obviously quite big. It always remembers whatever the last thing you happen to use was, so it's a bit bigger than I like it. So I'm going to come over here to the character panel. It's already chosen Impact, which happens to be the font that I was using. But obviously you can choose your font, you can choose the style and everything else. But obviously I just want to make it a bit smaller because it's too flipping big. And let's make it the right size to fit. So even smaller still, yeah. There we are, done. That's in the right place. And, oh, look as that purple thing comes in, it disappears. That's because the text is underneath the bottom. So obviously I want it to be on top. Grab it and drag it to the top. And now all I'm going to do is open up one of these things and then go to the text. Make sure I select the text, open it up, go to the transform, stick in a position keyframe there, move it to the start, fly it off. I'm sure you're getting the idea of what I'm doing right now. Go to the end, make sure I'm lined up exactly on that particular frame because I want it all to line up, stick in a position, go to the end, and then fly it off. So now I've got dvc.uk.com coming in. Okay, that's got that one sorted out. It's kind of annoying the way that I'm having to open this stuff and it's showing me every parameter. It'd be really nice if I could just show like the one that's keyframe, so I know where these keyframes are. Actually, there's a really nice keyboard shortcut for that, which they call the Uber key. So if I just press the U button when I've got the right layer selected, it shows me just the keyframes for that layer and nothing else. Press it again, they go away. Anyway, what I want to do is now come in here, select T again, and type in surround sound, which is the name of the particular chapter. Move it into place. Let's look a bit closer at that. You notice my text here is white text with a black outline. Let me hide the bottom layer there, just so it's more obvious. But you can see there it's white text with a black outline. It's all defined over here in this palette, this character palette. So this one defines the color of the text. I can change it to red or whatever. I actually want it white. The one at the bottom there defines the outline. So double click on that and I can change the color of the outline. Again, I wanted it to be black. The size of the outline is decided by this one, which is the number of pixels of the stroke. And you have options here. It says fill over stroke or stroke over fill. So if it's stroke over fill, then as you make the line bigger, it's blotting out the white color in the middle, which is the fill. If you have fill over stroke, then the white color stays and just the line on the outside gets bigger. And that's the way I prefer to do it. But I've got that in there and I think it's about 5. That'll do me. Actually, I have no idea. What was the other one? Let's go and click on the text layer for DVC. Oh, it was 6. So I'll go back up here and I'll type 6. That's it. Surround sound. Now I need that to animate in like everything else. So again, zoom out so I can see it all. Click on the text layer, U, so I know where the keyframes are for that layer. And then come to this one, open it up, transform, turn keyframing on for that, move it to the start, zoom it off screen that away. Come along here, add in a keyframe, and then off at the end, flies off. So what I should be getting now is all the words flying in and then flying off again. And I've got one final word to do, which is, let's turn on the original reference. This thing here actually refers to the section of the tutorial. So my tutorial is divided up into sections. There's a bit about sound, there's a bit about editing, there's a general edit, there's exporting. That'll say whatever it is. And at the moment I'm doing the audio section. So let me add in a T and I'll type the word audio and move it into position. Here's something else. You notice as soon as I drag that across, it's gone black and this red thing's popped up here. Why is that? Well, the words audio were in capitals. I hit the caps lock so that I could type them in capitals. But if the caps lock is on, it stops After Effects from updating the effects view, the program view, if you like, or the composition view. So as soon as I moved this around, it didn't update it, and that's why it's gone black. And it has said refresh disabled, caps lock, blah, blah, blah. It tells you exactly what to do. Undo the caps lock. And then it comes back. And then when you move things around, it shows you what it is. The reason why that caps lock thing is in there is with this particular thing, this is a really easy set of effects. It doesn't take much effort on the part of my computer. If you do something that's extremely complicated with particles and multiple layers and all sorts of stuff like that, then sometimes it takes an awfully long time to refresh when you adjust something, because it's really complicated and you're making the machine work hard. So you've got the option of clicking on the caps lock, so you can move stuff around without having to wait every single time you let go of the mouse. In this case, I'd put the caps lock on because I was typing, and then as soon as I moved it, I couldn't see what the results were. Turn off the caps lock, you can see the results. Right, okay, so that's the audio there, and I'd like to, again, keyframe the position on that. I can still see where the keyframes are for my other text, so I know I can line it up. I could open this up, go to transform and go to position and keyframe it like I've been doing it before. But again, I've got a limited amount of space down here, so it'd be not nicer if I could just open up that position setting on its own. And there's a keyboard shortcut for it. Press P for position, and it opens up just the position up there. I don't remember all of them, but I do remember the ones I use a lot. P for position, S for scale, and of course opacity is going to be O, isn't it? No. Opacity is T. T for transparency. Again, it's just like all keyboard shortcuts, you have to learn them. But yeah, P for position is easy to remember, S for scale is easy to remember. T for transparency is easy to remember, except it's called opacity. So I'm forever clicking O and then nothing happens. Anyway, I'm going to go P for position, go to the same point as everything else, add in a keyframe, so turn on keyframing there, move it back to the start, and let's just fly me off screen. Go to the end, add in a keyframe there, off to the very end, and then let's fly me off again. And now you can see I've now got the animation set up with all the words coming in. Now I think I really ought to save this thing. I haven't saved it at any point. If this crashed right now, I'd lose it all, which would frankly be really annoying because I've been wobbling on for ages. So I'm going to save it. Probably should have done it earlier. File, save, stick it in the same folder as everything else. Maybe I'll even make up another subfolder for it, but again, always good to actually stick everything together so you know where it all is. That's it, done the title. So I've now got that laid out. So let's come back into the Premiere and look at my original, and yep, okay, it's doing pretty well, but I still haven't got the lens flares on, and I still haven't got that nice blur on it. So let's put those on.